Saying that in your childhood you had some difficulties, emotional. You had a difficult childhood.
I did.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
Then you changed.
Yeah.
You went through some experiences that changed you,
Yeah.
and you keep transforming yourself.
Yes.
Could you please tell us how did you change? What helped you to change, and what are you doing to keep changing into being a better person?
Sure, it's a good question. As a child, I was brought up in a very traditional parenting way, so a lot of punishments and things like that.
Sorry.
When I was growing up, I was brought up in a very traditional way. Traditional meaning my behavior was more important than my experience. Oh, that's good. I got to write that down. My behavior was more important than my experience, and so I actually believed that my behavior, how I appeared on the outside, was more important than who I was and how I felt. And so that meant I didn't really feel like I was worthy. I wasn't worthy of love. I wasn't worthy of friendship, and that reflected all throughout my life. In my schooling years, when I was in grade 7, 8, 9, I was bullied severely, which I know that I didn't have the self-confidence to deal with that. And only when I was in then when I was in my late teens, I ended up doing a lot of self-destructive behavior. Really aggressive, really violent. And I was involved in some, shady activities. I'm not going to go into detail on video, but it was like I was headed down a really dangerous path. And I was fortunate that I met a spiritual teacher when I was in my mid-20s, and he told me basically the same thing that my mom and I tell the participants in our prison workshops. He told me that I had limitless potential inside, and I had all the power inside of me to change my life if I believed it, if I loved myself, and if I worked at it. And so what I did was I started to see myself differently. Instead of seeing myself as a victim, where life was always attacking me and I was helpless, and I had to manipulate others just to get by, I started seeing that I had the ability to live a life that I really valued, that had real value to me, which to me meant a life where I could serve other people, where I could help other people, and where I also was able to express my artistic side, which all my life was burning inside of me, and I was smothered because I didn't believe in myself, which is why I dance. I do contact improv dance, which I love, and I also am starting to get more into performing contact improv, which is great. My friend Tanya and I have been performing and creating dances together. And I tell you, man, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, when I started dancing, I never would have believed that I could do this kind of thing. Because for the previous, 30-something years, I had this program inside that I couldn't do those things. That it wasn't safe for me to express myself. But honestly, the primary reason that I worked at changing myself was for my kid.
Okay.
That was my primary reason, because I did not want to pass on the wounds and the trauma of my childhood to the next generation. Now I have, because you can't help it. It's one of those things that as parents we have to learn to forgive ourselves for and laugh about. And say, we have to give them something to talk about in therapy. That's not a joke about it, just so I don't feel terrible inside, right? Because it's part of being human. We pass it on. But the question is, I always said, can I minimize it? How could I minimize how much I wound my child, how much trauma I give to my child, how much pain that I give to my child, so she could grow up with a cleaner slate than I ever had. And this was my real motivation for change. Like I fight day and night. What do I fight for? To love myself, to accept myself, to see that natural beauty and love that I have.
How do you do that? Do you have specific technique that you do? Let's say you do an hour meditation a day, or is it just you talk to yourself, or you have some specific things? Maybe you go for dance once a week, and that helps you. Because my experience in my life, if I try to work things out by myself, it usually doesn't work. So I need something from outside, either some support system, either go for dance, or have friends to talk to, or do meditation, or have a group where I can open up myself. Like,
Right.
is there things that you do that brings this positive?
It's all of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, any one thing for me, any one thing isn't enough, and it changes as I grow too.
Yeah.
What worked for me 2 or 3 years ago maybe doesn't work for me now.
Yeah.
And it's being able to be aware of that as I evolved. When I first started on this path,
Yeah.
I was really just experimenting. Like it was meditation, and it was the martial arts, and it was working with energy and things like that. And then it shifted, and maybe it was more about talking to friends and stuff like that. Now it's kind of a mix of all those things. It's the artistic expression, the dance.
Yeah.
It's my own writing. I write a lot on parenting, but I also do my own journaling. But honestly, I think the core of it for me has come to be about seeing myself as someone needing love. For example, what I imagine is this: I imagine a child coming to me crying.
Yeah.
They're hurt somehow. Either someone yelled at them, or someone called them a bad name, or they fell and hurt their knee. And I think, how do I want to respond most deeply to this child? How do I want to talk? What's my tone of voice? What feeling do I want to give to this child so they feel safe and loved and cared for, and be the support in their healing through this experience so it doesn't stick inside of them? Because a kid can get hurt really badly, and if we guide them through it right, it just falls off. It doesn't stick. Because they're kind of built that way for it to not stick, if we help them with that. But unfortunately, what we do most of the time is the way we react, it makes it stick. Where it's, don't worry about it. It's not so bad. You tell the kid, it's not so bad, it doesn't really hurt. Stop crying, why are you crying? Anything like that. Or worse, we yell at them, I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So we can make it worse, but we can also make it better. Better is with empathy, right? I understand that you're hurting. Of course it hurts. I understand that. I would be hurting too in your situation. I'm sorry you went through that. You don't deserve to be treated that way. I love you. I care about you. What can we do to help? What can I do to help you with this situation? What can we do next time? Like working with kids like that, giving them empathy and care, and then problem solving and helping them think of themselves as problem solvers. So then I turn that around and I put that on myself.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
First I go into how would I genuinely do that, and then I put that on myself. Because if I don't continuously practice treating myself that way, I can't authentically practice treating my daughter that way. And still to this day, my daughter's going to be 20 soon. In a couple of months she's going to be 20. And still to this day I improve on that. I work on that every day. Because I still treat myself harshly. But nothing compared to 20 years ago. I'm really, like anything that you practice for 20 years you're going to get good at, right?
Yeah.
So treating myself with love and compassion is something I've gotten way better at. I'm actually really good friends with myself now, but I've worked really hard to get to that point. Really, really hard. But the results are so beautiful because my daughter, number one, she sees me working at it. Yeah. So she knows I'm an evolving being, which gives her permission to be an evolving being. But also, when she sees me treat myself with tenderness and kindness, it also gives her a model that she can follow, that she can treat herself that way.
Yeah.
And so, that's why. And then the natural result of treating yourself that way is to want to treat others that way, because you know how it feels.
Yeah.
Those guys at your work that you were telling me about that are really aggressive and you work in a really harsh atmosphere, they don't know how it feels to treat themselves that way.
Yeah.
They don't. Yeah? How often do you think that they'll look in the mirror and say, I love you, man? Not very often. No. And I'm sad for them. I hope that they can find that. Maybe some of how you work on that will rub off on them in time. Maybe.
Yeah. You know what? I have so many things to to talk about. I'm just gonna follow up one of those. Like when I go out from my home, it's an apartment building, and I see kids crying. I hear kids crying at home sometimes, and then their parents are screaming at them. Or sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and hear a parent is going mad.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. This part of me wants to figure out what happened. But like, again, same question. Knowing this, knowing the other option of living life and seeing all these things that are happening around you, how, like, is there a way you want to deal with it? Like, do you see that you can change the world in some way?
I hope I'm changing the world in some way.
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to change everybody? No.
Yeah.
There are some pains, Nijin, that we just have to bear. There are some pains that we just have to sit with and honor just as they are. The pain of all the children suffering in that way, I can't do anything about that. And I'm certainly not going to pretend I don't feel that pain or not feel the pain. I want to feel it. I want to feel it because then the work that I do, at least the changes that I do make, at least that inspires me to do that. But that pain is just something I live with. I sit with it all the time.
So you feel that pain.
I feel it.
You go on with feeling that pain.
Yeah. I don't try and run away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ability, honestly, to do social activism of any kind. I believe the ability to bear pain and to hold that pain and to feel it always. I think that is an essential character of social activism. Because anytime I try and avoid that pain, it means I want to either avoid the condition. I have to avoid seeing the conditions in the world that create it, or I have to avoid seeing the conditions inside myself that create it. And if I'm avoiding myself or I'm avoiding the world, I can't be as powerful an activist or an ally. Whether it's anti-racism, anti-feminism, not anti-feminism, anti-racism or feminism or anti-homophobia or any of the gender, the transphobia, childism, ageism, ableism. Am I missing? I'm missing. I'm obviously missing some. And like all of those things exist inside of me. When I start any conversation about activism, in my mind I say to myself, I'm racist, I'm sexist, I'm homophobic, I'm transphobic, I'm ageist. I'm ableist. I say all those things. I don't want to pretend I'm not. How can I not be? It's systemic, right? So systemic means it's part of the system, and I'm part of the system. The only way I can not be part of the system is if I was raised, in the forest and never met another human. But as soon as we're in community, the system of that community affects all of us. So rather than pretend I don't have those things, I put them out there. I don't say that to people out loud every time, but inside myself I acknowledge it. And it's painful to acknowledge that. That's why so many people be like, I'm not racist. I have friends of all different colors. I'm not racist. I'm not sexist. I think all genders are equal. Yes, I also think that, and I'm aware of my biases inside, which I work on every day. Same in the world. When I see parents yelling at their children, when I see any of the racial, social, economic
wars,
all of
in
things.
Syria and people dying there. And
thank you.
Yeah.
I let that pain in. How can I not? So some pains you just have to live with, basically, is what I'm saying. No, I won't say you. Some pains I choose that I have to live with. Yeah. And I let that pain motivate me to spend every moment that I can trying to make a difference, like you said. This is why, and it's part of what gives me the compassion for people too, because when I'm working with people who spank their kids, which I cannot stand the idea of parents spanking their kids. The violence in it, it terrifies me. But when I work with someone who's doing that, if I tell them that, they're not going to be able to hear me. I don't want to make them feel bad for what they're doing. I want them to feel capacity for more. And the only way I can help them feel the capacity for more is if I see it in them. And the only way I can see it in them is if I'm not judging them, right?
I read on a Facebook, there was one post about some tribe in Africa that if somebody does a crime or they do some a bad thing, they gather around him and say all the good things that he has done.
I read that one too.
Oh, I did. So it's a different way. So they just remind the person how good the person is, so they don't have to do that.
It's a great idea. I haven't done the research, so I don't know if that's actually true.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a little skeptical about.
Yeah.
This is off the record.
Maybe.
Yeah, because there's like there's like an air of racism around a post like that.
Yeah.
The tribe in Africa, they're so evolved.
Yeah.
Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. We look for things like that.
Yeah. But the idea in general is exactly how I shared my parenting ideas.
Yeah.
It's so true.
So, if we talk a little bit about your martial arts,
Okay.
what can you say a little bit about Ninjutsu and what inspires you, and just elaborate on that. What you teach, what inspires you, how you learned it, and what do you want? Why do you feel inspired to share your knowledge, and what it gives to you? Maybe there's too many questions.
There's a lot of questions.
You can answer any of them.
I'll just ramble on about martial arts for a few minutes.
Okay.
It's a good questions.
Yeah.
When I was, I started taking martial arts when I was like 18, I guess. 19, 20, somewhere around there. And it was largely in response to having been bullied so severely, right? So I felt this real lack of power inside of me. And the way I had responded to that lack of power before was to lash out at other people. Martial arts gave me a more healthy outlet for those aggressive feelings. And so that's largely why I took it in my early days. And I used to really want to get in fights a lot, and I would instigate fights whenever I could, and it was not a healthy way to live. And the martial arts actually helped me become more peaceful in that respect, because the more my skill grew, the more I realized the responsibility that I had not to use it, because I didn't want to hurt people, like punching somebody in the face when you're angry, and then punching somebody in the face when you're angry and you know exactly where and how to punch them to cause maximum damage are two very different things. And so my martial arts actually helped me become much more peaceful, which is good, because as I became a parent, I want to model a non-violent way of living in the world.
Yeah.
Ninjutsu itself is a martial art that combines really precise structure, millimeter precise structure, which is agonizing. It's a joyful agony to practice that, and free flow. And there has to be a free flow, because you never know what's going to happen in a combat situation. It's always changing. It's always chaotic. And when you have the structure, it gives you something inside the chaos. It gives you this solidity, this foundation, this strength to operate from. And so it's the combination. It's like a yin yang thing, right? The combination of the structure, and then precision, and then the flow and the ability to adapt. Doesn't that sound like contact improv, like the dance that we do? Right? It's so similar. Just nobody breaks an arm. Well, hopefully. But it's a different. Maybe it's got a different purpose, but I think the fundamental essence of it is the same. And I think most art forms are similar. If you have the ability to have really good foundation in skill and structure, but then you have this flow that can come, and so you can move with any circumstance that happens. Even if it's painting, or if it's singing, or if it's dancing, and the martial arts, I think that combination of structure and flow really helps. And that's what I love about the ninjutsu. And my class is really, the students that I have are wonderful people. We're like a family, and everybody really supports each other. There's no ego. There's not much ego. There's always some ego, but there's not much ego. Everybody really cares about each other. Everybody's having fun and laughing. Taking the training seriously without taking ourselves too seriously. New people come in and instantly feel supported. It's not like some martial art classes you go to, and the more advanced students are trying to show off. It's not like that in my class. And so it's got a really good attitude. The reason I did that is I go twice a week. I teach twice a week, so I wanted it to be a place I was happy to be twice a week.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so everybody there is really cool.
So how do you become more peaceful through doing martial arts?
Yeah, it seems like a contradiction, right?
Yeah.
If I'm learning to gouge your eyes out, how is that making me more peaceful?
Yeah.
And I think, for me, what it is I always tell my students, imagine somebody you really love, that's really precious to you, is standing behind you when you practice.
Yeah.
And the reason that you're practicing is you're protecting them.
Yeah.
And there's somebody wants to harm them, they have to get through you.
Yeah.
And that's how we always practice. Even when we're moving really, really slow. That's how we practice.
Yeah.
And I think what that does is it focuses on love being the reason that we're practicing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not practicing because I want to hurt somebody. I'm practicing because I want to increase the peace in the world. And sometimes, when there is a violent situation, if we are comfortable with violence, and I don't mean comfortable as in we enjoy violence, but comfortable as in it doesn't make us frightened and run, then we're able to keep our heads, keep calm, and create the most effective response in a given situation. You know, I'm often in situations where I find myself often in situations where I see people trying to hurt each other, and if it's just two people that kind of seem like they're on equal footing and they just want to fight, fine. But if it seems like there's somebody who's an aggressor and somebody who's weaker, I'll almost always step in and try and protect the person who's who's weaker or who's being what's the word I'm looking for? Attacked or victimized. Sometimes it's racial, sometimes it's gender, sometimes it's just it's just anger. There was one time I was in Starbucks and this guy had spilled some coffee on his hand, there were no napkins, and he flipped out. And he got really angry, and he went up to the young people behind the counter, and he started to threaten to throw the tea in their face. He was so angry. And I immediately jumped in front of him. And
what did you do?
What happened was I was really so angry that he was threatening to throw it in my face then. And he said, "Get out of my way." And I started to really empathize with the burn on his hand. He said, "Get out of my way." I said, "No, I'm not getting out of your way because I don't want you to hurt these other people. And I'm really sorry for how you got hurt. I feel so bad."
Yeah.
Now, as I was doing that, I was checking out my surroundings. Right? I was saying, where's my exit? Where are the people behind the counter? How is he holding his cup? Are there any weapons available to me? The container of stir sticks was right there, so there's like wooden sticks there. There was a ceramic cup on the counter, so I had all of this stuff in my awareness as I was talking to him.
Yeah.
I saw the angle he was holding. It's a bug attacking me. The bug's attacking me, and I reacted so violently. And I should have empathized with the bug. Anti-bugism. And so as I was talking to him though, I said, "Can I see where you burnt yourself?" And he showed it to me. I said, "I'm so sorry." He said, "There were no napkins." And I said, "It's not their fault. They don't order the napkins. It doesn't make sense to get angry at them, but it also is not. It's not pleasant that you got burned. I feel really bad for you."
Yeah.
And then he just kind of stopped and he didn't know what to make of me. And he said, "Who the hell are you?" I said, "I'm your friend." He goes, "You're not my friend." I said, "I am your friend, and I care about you." I said, "And."
Wow.
And I said, "And you have to leave now."
Mm-hmm.
And because of the way I framed it, because I didn't have fear, and my fear didn't come from some kind of...
He's attacking you.
It is attacking me.
Can you punch him?
I'm gonna... It's like the Karate Kid. Where are my chopsticks? It's not that I didn't have fear.
Yeah.
It's that because I was comfortable with the situation. I've been punched in the face a lot, so I didn't really mind, right? And so I was able to bring out my human side, and empathy and humanity, like really connecting human, is one of the most powerful self-defense tools that there are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know how to block a punch and punch somebody in the throat, but it's also good to know how to connect with another human being. Because a lot of the time, most of the time, if we can do that, we can de-escalate things. My students know that de-escalating is the number one preference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, often my students come to me with stories about how class saved their lives, and most of the time they got out of it without having to fight. There's actually a saying that the highest goal of the ninja is to win without fighting. I have another student who was mugged at knife point and was mugging him for his wallet. And it was so amazing because just the week before we had done some role plays around that.
Wow.
And because we were doing knife defense courses. And the first thing that I showed them was to take out your wallet and to say, I want to give you my wallet, I want to give you all my money and my credit cards, but I have to take out anything with my address. But every time you say something, you take a little step backwards, as if you're afraid. I just need to take my driver's license out. But I'm going to give you my credit cards, and I'm going to give you my money, so you're increasing the space between you and the person. Just little ones, so they don't really know what's happening. And you're telling them that you want to give them what they want, right? And then you hand them the wallet, and you toss it just out of reach for where they have to.
But you toss it in front of them.
In front of them.
Yeah.
A little off to the side. And when they reach down to pick it up, you take off at that moment because they have to take a step to reach. Yeah. He did exactly that. And then when he went home, his dad was saying, "Why didn't you use your martial arts?" And he said, "I did."
That's nice.
Yeah.
You know, there's this story of 3 monks, like martial arts monks.
Yeah.
They walk on let's say they walk on the street, and some guy starts throwing stones on them. And one said, "You know what? I'm so skilled that I was being able to like move away, didn't touch me." Second said, "You know, I'm so skilled that I could punch back the stones." Third said that nobody threw a stone on me. So that's like a level of math. So if you get to some level, nobody even have to show an aggression to you because you don't.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell that story in my class. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you.